Hey YouTube! So we are doing a review for today. We're doing a vlog review for the upcoming Netflix series Sweet Tooth. So actually Sweet Tooth is based on a comic book of the same name by Jeff Lemire. I'm not sure. You guys might be thinking, oh, it's another comic book adaptation. One recently, Jupiter's Legacy. But let me tell you this: Sweet Tooth is nothing like Jupiter's Legacy. It's very different. Personally, I actually like Sweet Tooth better. Jupiter's Legacy is superhero based on like a superhero. It comes from the superhero genre, but Sweet Tooth is more fantasy drama. It's also a bit apocalyptic and actually Sweet Tooth, it's actually sometimes it resonates with the real world too much, that sometimes it's just too close for comfort, especially with what's happening, especially now with the pandemic and all. But before I get carried away, Sweet Tooth actually drops on June 4, Friday. So Netflix gave us advanced screeners to be able to see the first season. So it consists of 8 episodes, and personally, it like ends on a big cliffhanger, and I just really want to know what happens next. So hopefully it gets picked up for a second season. So what is Sweet Tooth all about? So when you hear the title, it's kind of hard to guess what's it about. It's actually set, well, as I said, it's very similar. It's quite similar. I don't want to say very. It's quite similar to our situation right now. So in the series, there is what they call the crumble. So it actually takes place 10 years after the crumble. So the crumble is like when all hell breaks loose, but it kind of goes back in flashback. So we see what happened. So basically there's this virus. So it's the H5G9 virus. It's kind of like COVID-19, so it's super scary. But H5G9 is like really, really bad. Like a lot of people died, and kind of like once you see symptoms on someone who's infected, like that's it. It's goodbye. There's this outbreak. There's this virus. So you see a lot of the characters. They're wearing masks and stuff. So it's really echoes what's happening also in our world now. So so the virus is expanding, happening everywhere. People are dying, and then suddenly babies being born are hybrids. They're like half human, half animal. People don't know whether the hybrids came first, if they caused the virus, if they're a cure for the virus. So it's like a really, really crazy world, because imagine you're pregnant and then when the baby is born, it's like half human, half animal. So it could be any kind of animal. So actually the lead character, Sweet Tooth or Gus, so he's actually half deer. So his father, like when the crumble happened, his father took him to the forest, and they sort of lived on their own there. So his father raised him away from all of the chaos. So while Gus was being raised in the forest, like all hell has broken loose in civilization. It's like with the babies being born like into half-breeds, so they would call them hybrids. There are these like group of like sort of their military. The military became like the last men, and they would like hunt these hybrids, and of course there are also poachers who would hunt them. And basically the hybrids are being used like to try to discover a cure for the virus. So that's like not good for them. While all hell breaks loose in humanity, Gus is living a quiet life with his dad, so he doesn't know what's happening in the outside world. So from outside of their forest. But as fate would have it, Gus would have to leave the comfort of his home and go on his own adventure. So he befriends this former football player who's also like a poacher now, Jap. So Tommy Jeopard. So he was like a football player before the crumble happened. So like you guys might recognize him. He's played by Nonso Anonzi, who you might recognize as Zaro Johan Daxos in Game of Thrones. So he's in the film, in the series rather. Gus Sweet Tooth. So his name is Gus, but Jap calls him Sweet Tooth because he has a sweet tooth, hence the title of the series. So they become unlikely friends and they go on this adventure. And well, the story is sort of like structured like we are introduced to different characters and then they would all sort of converge and come together. So we have Gus and Jap, and then we have Dr. Singh, and who is trying to look for a cure for the virus. And then we have Amy, who is fostering hybrids, taking care of them, because some people want them dead. But then there are also those who try to protect the hybrids. So there we have Amy, and then we have Bear, like that's her code name, Bear, who has this like sort of animal army and tries to protect the hybrids. So it's actually a very touching series. There are a lot of social commentaries in there, like of course with what mankind is doing to nature. The series reminds us that humankind has not been kind to nature, and like the virus is sort of like a way of getting back at humans. And who can blame them? And the pandemic, if you really study it, it's man meddling with nature that's actually caused it. So there is that, sort of like the man versus nature lessons that are mixed in the series. And aside from that, of course, we sort of look into humanity through a microscope. So we see like there's a scene there at how people, once they sort of develop this community, they're like living together peacefully. But like when someone shows symptoms of the virus, everyone turns on them, and it's actually not a pretty sight. So I guess it kind of reminds me of how people would react, or how they would shun away people who were positive for COVID. So it's like it really reflects what society is now. So sometimes it's kind of uncomfortable to watch because it's that there are like scenes there that are happening also in real life. So maybe it's kind of bad timing, but then again, I believe that the series already had some delays in production because of COVID-19. And well, I guess in some parts of the world, the vaccination rollouts and all, life is kind of getting back to normal for some nations. Good for them. And maybe that's why I guess that they thought of releasing it. But for us here in the Philippines, it's still not quite back to normal yet. So that's why I think it's kind of uncomfortable to watch sometimes some of the scenes there. But with what's happened during this past year, everything's kind of like anything is possible. So the sci-fi kind of becomes a bit closer to reality, so it's like a bit scary. But anyways, there. So aside from the like sometimes uncomfortable viewing experience, because it reminds you of the real world too much, I actually enjoyed it. The cast the perfect child actor to play Gus, Christian Convery. I think that this series would not work if they didn't get the perfect actor to play Gus. Like, he is so cute, and he's like half deer, like half human, half deer, and like the way his ears move, it's so adorable. So yeah, it's kind of hard not to fall in love with the kid. So that's why you'd be cheering for him, and you just want him to succeed, and you just feel sorry for him really. And there's actually a lot of shockers also in, towards the end of the 8 episodes, and that's why I really kind of want to find out what happens next. Some of the things that I would comment on Gus, of course, since he's a lead character, like the CG on him, like the ears and his horns is like perfect. It's like so cute. But there are other like hybrid children who kind of, maybe they lost the budget already when it comes to them, because like the CG for them is not that cute anymore. So kind of doesn't look good on some kids, but for Gus, he is perfect. And also, as I mentioned earlier, there was like an animal army led by Bear. So and they're trying to save the hybrids, and they have like animal costumes and all. So I just like would think, where would they get all those elaborate costumes, in a post-apocalyptic world? But hey there. So yeah, just a couple of those costumes, but overall I like binged through the series like almost in one sitting, really, because it's just really that so much captivating, and I really enjoyed it. There's a lot of drama in there and adventure, and Gus and Jep go on the road. They travel through like what's left of America, so it's like an adventure also. You guys have to check it out. Sweet Tooth, June 4 on Netflix. And actually, I forgot to mention at the first part that Robert Downey Jr. and his wife Susan Downey are actually executive producers for the series, under their Team Downey production. So yeah, I think this was like a good project for them, because the storytelling, the acting, and then there's even a narrator who like narrates through, so you kind of feel like it's a story like being read to you. So I really enjoyed it, and the music also was top notch. So they chose like these indie folk groups of monsters and men for one, and the choices are really good also. Coming from someone who loves music, they really chose great pieces there. Yeah, that's it. I enjoyed it. There are a couple of like exclamations of surprise, anger, and the sadness, and because I was like emotionally invested in it. So yeah, you guys do check it out. Do not be overwhelmed with comic book adaptations. This one is very different. So yeah, Sweet Tooth drops on Netflix again on June 4, so you could make it your weekend binge watch. It's like 8 episodes, easy, because you're gonna get hooked. So just a reminder that things could get maybe a bit uncomfortable at times, because sometimes it can hit too close from home, but yeah, that aside from that, everything else is like but yeah. And also, like I mentioned, some of the CG with some of the kids is not that good. But aside from that, everything else is okay. So yeah, thank you Netflix for sending us screeners over. I really enjoyed it, and once you guys have seen it, I would love to hear your thoughts. Just make a comment or send me a message, and let's talk about it. Right? Okay, so that's it for now. Hope to see you guys in the next vlog. So keep safe.